So now the next reading is purely focused on the demand side here. There are certain important concepts we'll be going through this. The first one is that there is an important theory called as consumer choice theory and utility theory. Okay, so the entire demand analysis is based on certain basic assumptions that go into consumer choice theory. So we want to look at them. So what does consumer choice theory would basically tell us? It would explore the trade-off between different goods. Okay, so if you have choice between A and B, and if you've been given some amount of rupees with you, then how many goods you would prefer to consume of A and how many goods you would prefer to consume of B. So there would always be a trade-off between A and B, and this is what consumer choice theory would help you find out. So now there are certain basic well-accepted principles, and we want to look at them. So these are kind of underlying principles which are accepted, and only when these underlying principles are true, the entire demand curve becomes more sensible. And these are kind of common sense thing. So what it says is that given a choice, this is called as complete preference, given a choice between A and B, okay, so these are some sort of a bundle of goods, one must be able to prefer one over another. Okay, so for example, let's say you go to a restaurant or you go to a friend's house and he offers you, I will give some sensible examples. He offers you a tea or a coffee, right? So then, as a consumer, you're not a consumer here, but you should be able to choose between A and B. You shouldn't say kuch bhi chalega. Okay, so you should always have a preference over two different competing bundles A and B.
Same price.
No, price यहाँ पे वो नहीं है. मतलब, see what it means is that if there are different sets of goods, you should be able to choose that okay, I like A over B, or I feel that I would be more satisfied with B than A. So tea and coffee was not the first preferred choice, but you can imagine different examples here. Now the next one is transitive preference, okay, which is kind of common sense. A is preferred over B, then B must be preferred over, B is preferred over C, then A must be preferred over C. Okay, so unless and until you are irrational, this would always be true. So if you are preferring A to B and B to C, then you should always prefer A to C. And then the last one is non-satiation. What it says is that the more will be always preferred to less. So given a choice, you would always like to consume more than less. And if this is true, then the entire demand side analysis is going to be true. Should we move on now? Okay. So now the next important point is that there would be a concept called indifference curve. Okay. So what it would mean is that if you have a bundle of goods, okay, so you have let's say good A and good B. So then you would be comfortable to consume, let us say 5 units of A and 1 unit of B. Or if someone offers you more units of B, you would be okay if less unit of A are offered, right? So on these 2 points you are kind of indifferent. So what an indifference curve is, it says that on any point on this, you would be given some goods of A and some goods of B, and you would be indifferent between what combination you want to use. That means, if you are given more goods of A and less of B, you are okay with this. If you are given more of B and less of A, you are okay with this. You are kind of indifferent between any point on this curve with 2 combination of goods. Okay, so now we have 2 goods under consideration, which is bread and wine. So we put just one of them on the y-axis, one of them on the x-axis, and this is how your indifference curve is going to look like. Okay, so what it means is that any part on this curve, now on this particular point, what do I have? I have a very high number of units of wine and a very less number of units of bread. So if I come here, I get relatively less number of units of wine, but I would get more units of bread. Here my number of units of wine will decrease, but the quantity of bread is increasing. And what is most important here is that there is not a flat slope. It's not a straight line, it's a curved line. So I cannot say that 2 units of wine is equal to 1 unit of bread. This is called as a slope, which is not same, it is changing at every point on this curve.
Never. Never touch the bed.
It will never touch the bed axis. Yeah, generally not, yes.
It can corner solutions. Corner solutions are.
Which solution?
Corner solutions are.
Where you have all the units of bread and no units of wine? Okay. Alright, so this is your bundle A. Okay. Now, what it's saying is that if you have, let's say, some combination of goods here at this stage, you would always prefer bundle A to this combination of goods here. Why? Because in bundle A, you get more units of both wine and bread. Are you following this? That in bundle A, you would get more units of wine, more units of B. So what we say is that this area is dominated by bundle A because bundle A offers you more of both the units. But this area that we have here, not necessarily a curve, but this area that we have in this portion, you are being offered more units of both the goods compared to bundle A. So now what we would say is that if you have been given a choice here, then you would always prefer this to bundle A. Right? And why? Because non-satiation theory, which would say that more is always better than less. Okay, so now the next point is marginal rate of substitution. It says willingness to give up one good to obtain another good. So we have a marginal rate of substitution of bread for wines. Okay, so rate at which consumer will be willing to give up wine to obtain bread. So the way we have marginal rate of substitution of bread for wine, in the same fashion we can also have marginal rate of substitution of wine for bread. The number of breads one would be willing to give up for units of wine. Are you following this? Yeah. So that what it basically means is that at what rate you are willing to substitute. Meaning of marginal is incremental. So are you willing to give up 1 unit of bread to have an incremental unit of wine? Or how many, incremental means extra. So how many units of bread are you willing to give up for some units of wine here?
It will affect the demand.
It would affect the? Yeah, no, here we are, it would, but we are looking at certain more important concept here. You'll understand what this is. So now we have these 3 points. Okay. So we are calling them as bundle A1, bundle A and bundle A2. Now see, what it says here is that marginal rate of substitution, okay, of bread for wine will be very, very high. Okay, and you need not remember this. This is kind of common sense here. You are in a scenario where you have too much of wine and you have very less amount of bread. Okay, so you are kind of drinking too much and eating too less. Right, so now given a choice, you would be willing to kind of give away good amount of wine just to have 1 unit of bread, isn't it? So the marginal rate of substitution of substituting wines for bread, that means giving up wine to obtain some amount of bread, is going to be very, very high here. And at this stage now, what you have is, you have a very high amount of bread with you, so you are eating too much, but you are drinking too less. So now you would not be willing to part away with a lot of bread just to have, you would not be willing to part away with wine to have extra unit of bread. That means marginal rate of substitution of bread for wine will be very, very low here. Is this clear? So I can also write it in the other fashion. I can say marginal rate of substitution of wine for bread will be low here. And at this stage, I can say marginal rate of substitution of bread for wine here would be high. Should we move on?
In the first case, substitution of wine for bread.
Substitution of wine for bread, yes. No, it's high. See, it's like how many units of wine you would be willing to part away to have 1 unit of bread. This is how you would interpret this. So at this stage, you would be willing to part away with good amount of wine to just have an incremental unit of bread because you already have too much of wine. But here,
What do you want loan?
this is the other way around now.
WB.
How many units of bread you would be willing to part away to have 1 unit of wine? You have too less of bread here and you have too much of wine, so you would be willing to part away less amount of bread. Are we good to move on? Yes, the answer would be C, that he would prefer to consume 11 DVDs and 5 books because of which theory or which basic principle? Yes, non-satiation, that you would always be willing to consume more to less. So you have 10 DVDs and 5 books, 8 DVDs and 6 books, but compared to this, you are being given more DVDs and same amount of books, so you would always prefer this particular bundle of goods compared to other goods. We cannot be sure about B is incorrect, though it looks like this in this fashion, but what we know is that it's a curve. And meaning of curve is that the slope is going to be different at each point. So therefore we cannot really conclude as to what is that relationship with each other, because that slope is changing at every point. And because the slope is changing, we also cannot conclude what would be the other points, because we do not know how much is the curvature of that particular slope. So we cannot comment on point number A as well.
That is based on the things given in question.
No, we cannot.